Hello and welcome back to Idle Kingdom Defense. So today this is my alt account, but we're actually looking at a special thing here. We are talking about a Total War strategy, and it's specifically updated for the changes with 1.32. Now, I didn't make this immediately when 1.32 came out because I wanted to kind of see how sweeping changed things and play around with a little bit first before I came out with, okay, this is the way how we should be focusing on things now. Now that I feel like the update has had some time to breathe, I wanted to come back and focus on how you should approach this update to maximize what you'll get from your heroes. So one of the biggest changes in this update, the 1.32 specifically, is the Wild Castle update. The Wild Castle really strengthens your warriors. I've had many questions about this. Does it stack with Sky Castle? Yes, all the bonuses stack. The castle you use is purely cosmetic. And the fact is, with all those bonuses stacking, warriors are now the best. That means your priority is pushing Flame Fortress as far as you can. Flame Fortress is now the number one thing to improve your DPS because it will improve your warrior's DPS. Additionally, you will get a 6th warrior if you're wondering. If you look at my team and wonder who the 6th warrior is going to be, it's going to be Roderick. I wanted to get him in anyways. Then we're going to get another warrior slot, so I was kind of like, well, I'll just leave Thor in and slot Roderick in when he can make it. I don't really think there's any competition for that. So that said, how should you approach it? Now, if you're a new player or you haven't really done much in Total War, what you need to now do is focus exclusively on pushing the Flame Fortress as far as you can. This means every day do as many battles in the Flame Fortress as possible. You will eventually reach a point where your worst team can no longer contribute. At that point, you will find out which version of the Flame Fortress you can sweep. You will go back and you will sweep that version of the Flame Fortress. Alternatively, actually, I'll take that back. You won't sweep. When you have pushed Flame Fortress as far as you can go, and your like weak characters cannot help you push the Flame Fortress anymore, have them start doing Lightning Hall. I apologize. I'm thinking of this from my perspective, but no, let's look at it from a brand new player. Then you would start doing Lightning Hall. Okay. So you have your main team continue to push Flame Fortress as far as you can. Every character that can't push Flame Fortress now pushes Lightning Hall. Okay? The idea being eventually you get Flame Fortress as far as you can go. And then at that point you have to take an assessment. Now, if you have taken Flame Fortress as far as you can go with 3 supports and 5 warriors, because you can actually use 3 supports, 5 warriors, and not reduce the amount of fights you can do, because you can do 5 fights with 3 supports. It's 4 supports and 5 warriors, because you can do 5 fights with 3 supports and 2 warriors, so that's 15 of your supports, which leaves you with 4, and 10 of your warriors, which leaves you with 5. Now, assuming you have your top 5 warriors and your top 4 supports, you then need to push Flame Fortress as far as you can. Once your 4 supports and 5 warriors can't push Flame Fortress anymore, you then need to ask yourself a very important question. How close am I to getting Flame Fortress to the current Flame Fortress you're working on? It doesn't matter what stage you're on or anything. How close am I to getting this Flame Fortress to 10 out of 10? Now, if you're in earlier stages, like if you're below 10,000, I would say, you might not want to employ this strategy because just naturally leveling up through the game, you'll be able to push further and further. You won't really need to do this. This is more for people who are, I would honestly say 13,000 or above. For 13,000 or above, you need to start making a decision of, do I want to sacrifice the potential of 2 fights, which reduces your rank up progress, to potentially get to 10 out of 10 of a higher Flame Fortress, Lightning Hall, whichever. I would say you would not even make this calculation until you're at least gold 2, and the reason being is because to get to the next one, you need 250 victories. You'd be getting about 30 between the recoveries I have. I have 5 recoveries, which counts the first one, and then you recover 4 other times. I get 30 battles a day. Oh, wait, sorry, that's the next rank. I only have 4 recoveries right now, so I get effectively 30 battles a day. At gold 1, I will get an additional recovery. Excuse me. That said, again, you're still looking at get 30 battles a day. If I sacrifice 2 battles, that's probably not a big deal because it's 250 battles until I get to the next rank. Okay, so you have to kind of look at it like that and kind of make a decision that way. Again, like sacrificing like 10 battles is really only a third of a day. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. So then, once you make that decision, and in my case, I have made that decision, and you'll see how it works out for me. I'll tell you that getting to 810 is going to be an interesting. So you have plenty to look forward there. Now, once you get the Flame Fortress to 810, then the question becomes, do you sweep, or do you sweep the previous version of Flame Fortress? Or do you work on Lightning Fortress? Lightning Hall, sorry. That, I will say, is more up to you. I would personally say I would get Lightning Hall up, but I wouldn't try to push it with extra battles. And the reason for that is eventually you're going to want stuff from Lightning Hall. Like, eventually all your warriors are going to have decent enough artifacts and stuff like that you're going to also want to do your supports. That said, with the way the artifact system is designed and I did the math wrong. Slightly wrong. To get the right artifact, it's about a 3% chance. Because you want an artifact that awakens to plus attack, you want it to awaken to percent attack, and you want it to awaken to crit damage. The only one who wouldn't want this is Sophia. She would be... Sophia's is even rare, because you want attack, you want flat attack percent, hit point percent, and I would say defense percentage, but I'm not sure. I mean, it kind of depends. I would assume that defense percentage and hit point percentage would scale better with Sophia than flat defense and flat hit points. But that's a crazy kind of artifact you'd want for Sophia. Now, there's 14 affixes, and choosing 3 out of 14 wanting 3 out of 14 affixes to roll that way is a 0.3%. Now, granted, I didn't account for, the last affix really doesn't matter. Like, the only one that would be worth anything would be giving your warriors extra dodge. But that's about it. I don't even know that accuracy becomes an issue at high stages, and you also get a lot of accuracy from runes. So if accuracy ever became an issue, you could get it from runes. And I would defer to getting things from runes over trying to roll them as an affix and an awakening, because it's really rare. So that said, that's kind of a decision you have to make. But again, I kind of lean towards, because of the way this rank up is, you can eventually get 3 victory rewards. I feel like it was better to go ahead and push lightning, then push ice, and then push poison, and push them. I didn't push them like super, super hard, but at least get them past the easy stuff, so that if something changes with the meta, because we've already had, like, the meta between Total War, when Total War started and now, has already changed. If the meta changes again, or if they buff the power of the key or the orb or something like that, you want to at least have the ability to access that. So I'd at least consider that. But then once you get it up to a decent level, or you don't, whether or not you do it or not is entirely up to you. But again, my perspective was, I'm going to advance all the elements. I honestly do feel like they should have given you a bonus for, like, advancing all the elements. Like, if you beat all of the first stage, you get something, not a one-time thing either, like a permanent bonus to getting artifacts or extra dust or something, some kind of incentive to actually do it. That said, there isn't one, so you could technically go through the Flame Fortress, push it as far as you can, and spend everything sweeping that, and that's 100% a completely valid strategy as of right now. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that strategy. I am actually going to make a separate video on how to look at artifacts. But that's kind of the strategy now. So, and the order, I would say, Yeah, I still think it's flame, lightning, then frost, then poison. The reason I put frost over poison, even though warriors are winning, is because the only use for the orb I feel is Sophia, because Sophia does not benefit from critical damage on the book. That said, I am kind of making a gamble because I haven't verified that the orb benefits Sophia's active ability. I can't imagine that it wouldn't benefit her active ability, but it also, like, I haven't tested it, so take that with a grain of salt. That said, that is kind of an interesting question of would the flat crit damage be better for the warriors over the key, which is a attack percentage. And that's a really hard question to answer, and I'll explain to you why. Your crit damage is determined by your total crit damage minus the enemy's crit damage resist. So how good the book is depends proportionally to how much crit damage resist does the enemy team have, whereas attack percent is pretty much a much easier calculation. I do believe because of the cooldown on skills and stuff like that, and the fact that crit damage also affects the usage of skills, I do believe that crit damage is better. That said, I don't know how much better it is. I haven't really sat down and done like a lot of math to determine if it actually is, that much better. It will also vary between hero and hero, because heroes with lower attack will benefit from attack percent less than heroes with higher attack. So there's a lot of variables there, and I haven't. And of course, with the way the artifact system is, it's not like I've made a bunch of perfect artifacts, and now I already made all my perfect necklaces. Let me go find out how the keys work now. It's not like that. It's going to be a very long time. That said, that's just my assessment. It is possible that with warriors being so much stronger, that the key is better than the orb, so poison would take over ice. I'm not sold on using the key yet, especially because it's narrow in scope. But part of what makes this judgment so hard is we don't know the percentage of damage the heroes do from basic attacks versus special attacks. If I knew the differential, like if I knew special attacks were 80% of the warrior's damage and basic attacks were 20%, then I'd be like, oh, well, when you present the numbers that way, it's probably a lot better to have, the key than the book. Sorry, I forgot what it was. I was thinking of something else. But I instinctively, because of the cooldown of the skills and stuff like that, even though they hit, I think Thor hits 28 times harder. I think it still would come out to favor the book, because I guarantee you, even with Thor's cooldown of 7 seconds, that he actually hits a monster more than 28 times between usages. That would be 4 times a second. Maybe that's not right. I don't know. It's a tough call. But even then, like I said, crit damage still scales. Crit damage scales so... When I tried to math this out, your crit damage depends so much on the enemy's crit damage resist. And how much... Because crit damage is better with the less crit damage you have. So, like, for example, if you have 1,000 crit damage and you add another 1,000 crit damage to that, that's a huge increase, because now your crits are going to be triple, it'd be triple and a half. And so it'd be all right, let me rephrase this. You start with a base of 1.5 times for a crit. 1,000 crit damage would give you 2.5 times crit. Another 1,000 crit damage would give you 3.5 times crit. Okay? As you add more crit damage itself becomes less and less valuable, because it changes your total damage less. That's just the way the math works. Whereas attack becomes more valuable the higher your crit damage is. because a 3% increase of attack with, let's say you have crit damage of times 10, okay? So you always crit in this game. At this game, you have a 99% chance of critting. So you effectively always crit, in my opinion. I'm not going to math out the 1% difference there. But at that point, your 3% attack increase, but again, it's only on specials. And I think I'm going in the wrong direction when I don't know. I will say the key, because it works on specials, probably favors AoE situations, and the book probably favors single target situations. And if we know anything about the way levels are structured, what you always want to gear for is for single target stages. And the reason for that is just because of how everything works. Single target stages take longer. You can't AoE anyways. Your AoE stages are the fastest stages without gearing specifically for them. Man, there's a lot of caveats there. That said, the good news is you get books from everything. So this actually was a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but that's kind of the strategy going forward. Focus one, and then make a decision if you want to sweep. And now I'm making a brother video to this that's going to cover artifacting. So if you're wondering, like, what artifact should I focus on and stuff like that, just stay tuned for the next video, which will cover how do I artifact, what's the best way to artifact, and things like that. That said, once again, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to support the channel. If you have any questions, please say something in the comments. I do always look forward to your questions. And excuse me. And as always, thank you again, and I hope you have a great day.